you can ask me once the recording is over. And if it is regarding the doubts about the subject, you can ask me.
Okay, ma'am.
So in the last class we have been discussing about the statements. In those statements, we have discussed about few of the statements. There are actually two types of statements. Uh, they are executable statements, declaration statements. In those two types of statements, there are again executable statements are nothing but the statements which has some code in it and which will using which the program will be executed. Whereas declaration statements are nothing but whatever the variables and the contents that we want, things that we want in our program, we will be declaring using the declaration statements, isn't it? So, in this, we are again discussing about the two types of statements, working with the two types of executable statements. They are called selection statements and iteration statements. In those selection statements, we have discussed about the if condition, uh, switch case, select case condition. Okay, if statement and select case statement, or simply if else statement and select case statement. And in the part of iteration statements, we have discussed about the for each next statement, for each statement, isn't it? So, you know what are the iteration statements? These are the list of iteration statements. Why they are used? The iteration statements are used whenever the execution has to be done for a set of lines or a line when it has to be repeatedly executed for a number of times. That repetition can be done using the iteration statements. So in these iteration statements, we have to discuss about the while statement and do loop statement. In for next and for each next statement, okay, in for statement and for each next statement, both for next and for each next statements both are similar. There is only a difference. For next statement will only execute uh, the statements that are given, whereas for each next statement will iterate through a list of items. So group of items will be executed, isn't it? So let us discuss today about the while statement. The statement is known as while end statement. It is also like while statement, while loop we have learned in our earlier programming languages, just like that while loop statement. But here we are calling it as while end statement. So starts with while and ends with end. Okay, end while. Okay, here any statement that is started that should be properly ended with the end statement or end word. So here the while end statement, it will execute, continuously execute a set of statements as long as a given condition is true. So when a given condition is true, until the given condition is true, this while statement will continuously be executing. So only when the condition becomes false, as long as the condition is true, then only the statements, the list of statements that are written in the loop will be executed. Once the condition happens to fail, then the control will exit from the loop, and then the statement that is written after the loop will get executed. So there are two types of while statements you can write. Okay, like
Excuse
we
me,
were
ma'am.
using. Yes,
Ma'am,
yes.
ma'am, presentation కనిపించట్లేదు మ్యామ్ స్లైడ్స్.
Can you see now?
కనిపిస్తుంది మ్యామ్.
నాకు
Who is that who asked
కనిపించట్లేదు
me?
మ్యామ్. సాజిదా మ్యామ్.
Sajida. What is there any problem with your system, or everyone else is facing the same issue?
మ్యామ్ కనిపిస్తుంది మేడం.
Sajida, again,
Yes.
you cannot see now?
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot see. You check with your network, ma'am. Maybe problem is with your phone or system. Everyone
Ma'am,
can see.
rejoin అవ్వనా?
Okay, you can rejoin. I'll accept you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ah. So this is the while statement. So I have exit from the from presentation mode because we will be shifting from Windows to Windows, right? So the syntax for the while condition is, it will start with the while and the condition. Then see, we have not written anything, any brackets are not written here, but here the statements continue while, statements exit while, statements, these are the list of contents which specifies that once the while condition is written, it is optional for you, or you can write whatever the statements you wish. You can, if you wish to continue the while statement, you can continue. If you wish to exit the while, you can exit. So likewise, the list of statements that are involved. This is the syntax for the while condition. While condition, statements, continue while, statements, exit while, statements, and finally end while. You may ask me, ma'am, do we have to write these 5 steps whenever we write the syntax of while condition? No, not at all needed. Since our textbook, we are following a specific textbook, those rules have to be followed. That is why I've written here. If you want to write your while condition, syntax of while condition, you can simply write while condition, list of statements, blah, and then end while. That's all. So generally, this is the while end statement. So let us discuss an example. So you have to make a note of or practice of one thing, that is, whenever you are writing a code or a program or developing an application in .NET, you have to follow one practice. That is, this first step, you have to write sequence of step. First step should be start Visual Studio. Then go to select a file. From the file, you have to select new. Select a new project. So this is what, these are the sequence of steps which are must for you. Okay, when you, since it is Visual Studio, it is a huge software, it takes little time for us to respond. Okay, when you open a new project, in this project, what you are going to do? Are you developing application using Visual Basic, Visual C++, or Visual C Sharp? What are you using? That you have to say. So since we are developing an application in Visual Basic, I have selected Visual Basic. In Visual Basic, I am going to develop a console application right now, because I need to learn about how do we develop an application, how do we write code using the statements. So I have taken the console. So what and all you are selecting, what and all you are writing, what and all you are doing, you have to write it. Stepwise process has to be written before you could write your program. That is a must in .NET. So remember this. Select console application, and now here you have to give the name for your console application. So what name you are going to give? Since we are going to develop an application, I am going to name my application as while. Simply while. Then this location and all I have already said, this is the location I have selected. Then click on OK. Then a module will be created for you. In that module, you are going to write the specified code or the required code that you want to use to develop an program, to write a program for the using the while condition. So here the first module is there. In that there is a main procedure. In that main function, you are going to procedure, you are going to write your code. It is taking time. So the first thing here we are going to do is we are going to create a variable. How do we create it? Using the dim keyword. prim counter as integer. Since it is already there as integer. So I'm going to initialize the variable here itself. Nothing but giving some value. I'm giving counter a value that is 1. While declaration itself, I have given a value to counter. Okay, then console, I'm going to write an output statement. In order to specify that, I'm going to use the console dot write. I'm going to use the while statement. So write line I've selected, which is already there. See, I just pressed enter and it has the method is created there. So in that I'm going to write iteration using that's all. While statement will be better. Okay, then output statement is written. Now I'm going to write the see here I've written the small letter W, but it is automatically changing the W to the capital letter. Counter, this is the beauty of IDE. Counter less than 10. If you happens to forget the syntax format, it will automatically let you do if it is a keyword that is already existing in the Visual Basic. It will let you, even though you type the wrong sentence or the wrong letter, no, when it has to be capital, when you type the small, or when it has to be small, when you type the capital, it will automatically change because of this integrated development environment. Okay, then see automatically while is ended. I'm going to write an output statement again. Console dot write line. Nothing but I'm going to just to print the counter that I have initialized there. Until when I want to count, until when I want to print, until 9. So 1 to 9, the numbers are printed here using the console.writeLine. So now what I have done, I have initialized already counter here. Then I have given the condition using the while condition counter less than 10, and then I'm writing an output statement console.writeLine counter. So what does the counter do? What when I wrote counter here, this output statement will print whatever the value that is there in the counter. So I've given a value and I've given a condition. I'm giving an output statement. Now what else has to be done? I need to write the increment statement. The counter should be incremented. How do I increment? Using the less or less or equal. Counter less or equal to 1. Now what happens? The counter gets incremented every time. So what happens? 1, since 1 initially 1 will be printed. Again counter is incremented. Again the control goes and checks the condition. Counter is now 2. 1 plus 1 2. 2 is the checked again here. Again when it is checked 2 is less than 10. Again 2 will be printed. Again 2 is incremented here by the increment statement to 3. Again control will go and check the counter condition. 3 is less than 10. Again 10 will be printed. Sorry, 3 will be printed. Then again 3 is incremented to 4. 4 will be checked here. 4 will be printed here. Again 4 will become 5 through the increment statement. Again 5 will be printed. 5 less than 10 checked true will be printed. Until then when it becomes 9, counter 9 will be compared here. 9 will be printed here. After that 9 will be incremented to 10. When again control goes and checks here with the counter whether 10 is less than 10, which becomes a false, then the control will exit from the loop, and the statement that is written after that particular while loop will gets executed. So it is a must, I said, whenever you want to print something, you have to write the console readline statement, because whenever you have to, simply we can say, in order to view your output, you have to write this. So now I am saving this again, saving the changes and trying to run the application. So what happened? Iteration using while statement 1 to 9 numbers are printed. I hope. Can you see the screen? Is it visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sadia, you faced a problem. Can you see it? Is Sadia there? Sajida.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, you can see. So now let us go with the next statement, that is do loop statement. See, do loop statement is just like any other loop statement, but there is a difference. There are two types of keywords can be used for the do loop statement. Okay, so just like any other statement, it will be executing a group of statements repeatedly. But there are two types of keywords, while and until. These two are the keywords that can be used. While or until, using which the do loop statements can be executed. When while keyword is used, do loop statement executes a group of statements repeatedly as long as the given condition. This word you should remember. As long as the given condition is true. Once the condition fails, it will be exited from the loop. Whereas when you are using until keyword, what does this until keyword do? Until the given condition is true. Nothing but this is opposite to this. So using the until keyword, if you are writing do loop statement, a group of statements will be executed until the given condition evaluates to true. So before that, the condition is a false. So until the condition is reached to the true, the loop of statements, group of statements, the set of statements will get executed. So this is the difference between the while and until. So this is the syntax for the while statement, do loop statement. So do, either you can use while or until, anything is you can use, and the condition will be given. List of statements, whatever the statements you got, you can write here. And if you want to continue do, you can continue with that. If you want write any statements, you can write. If you want to exit, you can exit. And if there are any statements to be written, you can write. Or as I said, simply do, while or until, condition, then the statements, then the loop. These three lines are enough for you to write. Since we are following a textbook based on the time written it here. So this is all these are optional. If you want, you can write. If you don't want, you need not to write. So now it is ended with the statement loop. Whereas in while statement we have written end while. But here in do loop statement we are writing loop, the keyword loop to end the do loop statement. Okay. So now let us see an example in the do whiles. So now again start Visual Studio, select a file. From there select a new project. And in the new project, whichever application you are developing, Visual Basic, console application. And here, what is the application I'm going to develop here? Do loop. So I'll just type do loop, the name of the program, and click on OK. So there is another project with the same name. It is calling name. So now what should I do? I will write your name here. MSc. Do loop MSc. Maybe I might have created for the MCA students. So now I'm creating for MSc students. So again, the first step I'm going to do is creating a variable that I am going to use in my code, in my program. So the keyword that we use for creating a variable is dim. Dim number as is already there. Select it and just click on the space, it will be copied there. Integer, again space, selecting integer is equal to 10. Here also I am initializing the variable number. Dim number as integer is equal to 10 means I have initialized my variable. Now just writing the output statement to say that I am going to use console dot write line. I am going to use the do while loop. So I'm just typing iteration do. Sorry, we should not say do while kada. Do while statement. Okay. Output statement is written. Now we have to use the do. So here we are going to use do while or do until. So now I am going to use the do while. Do while number is equal to 20. Initialized to 10. Initially number is initialized to 10. And now I'm going to repeat the loop until, sorry. So the do while loop is used here. The number until the number is less than 20, the loop is going to be repeated. Okay. So until the condition, given condition, while number is less than 20. So the incremental statement, which statement I am going to write, that will decide how far it is going to be incremented. Console dot write line. You know the difference between write line and write, I think. So write line is for every statement a new line will be selected to print the every new statement will be printed in a new line. Whereas if you simply write, there will be one space gap. That's all. Continuously it will be printed. Okay, I'm going to print the number. So simply within the brackets, I have written number. So here until the number is less than 10, how far until the number is less than 20, then only the output statement will be printing the number. Once it is greater than 20 or equal to 20, it will exit from the loop. So I have to write the incremental statement. Number is equal to number plus 1. I have written the statement for the incremental also. Now I have to write the console statement to console dot read line statement. Okay. So now what happens? Let us check. Before we have initialized the variable to 10. So our our output will start from 10 only. Okay. And console.writeLine is the output statement to print a simple statement that the iteration with the do loop statement. Condition is checked here. Until it is 20, then only that statements within the loop will get executed. I have printed the number. So initially 10 will be printed here. And this incremental statement number is equal to number plus an increment the 10 to 11. So 11 is checked here. 11 is less than 20. So the condition is true. Since it is true, it will execute the list of statements here. Then again increment. 11 will be incremented to 12. 12 is compared again 13. 13 is compared and printed and again incremented to 14. 14 is compared and printed. And this process goes until 20. When the 19 is incremented to 20, 20 is compared here. Since 20 is less than 20 is a false, it will exit from the loop and it will proceed with the statements that are written outside this loop. after this loop. Okay, let us save this first and then check. Run this. Look at this. 10, 11, 12, 13 until 19 only it is printed because we have given a condition while number less than 20. Okay. So this is about the while loop. Next. Variables. What is a variable? We have been using the term variable every time we are talking about a programming language, and even now, before I could use or discuss this specific topic, I have been using, let us take a variable, let us create a variable. Number is a variable that I have created there in our earlier program, isn't it? Likewise, we have been using the word variable. What is a variable actually? Let us discuss. Variables. A variable is nothing but a storage area. So, a storage area in memory. So, if I say number, in the earlier program we have used number. Number is holding some specific location in the memory. So, whatever the value that I assigned to that particular number, that value will be stored in that particular variable, stored location, from where we can take or access the data and process the data for our convenience. So here, what we have done in this particular program, we have created a variable number, and that number is created of integer type, and we have given a value to the integer also, that number also. Now, here I am again calling or using that particular variable number. Whenever I use this number, instead of this number, the value that is assigned, that will come here, and checking comparison between this number and 20 is done with the value that is stored in this particular location. That is why we say that a variable is nothing but a storage area in memory. And like every variable will have a specific type. So that specific type determines which value should be stored in there. Okay. So every variable has a type which determines the values that can be stored. Here, the type of the value, this number type, the type of this number is integer. Nothing but the data type that we use determines. If it is a character value can be stored. If it is a string content can be stored. So a variable will determine the type of the variable, or the data type determines which values to be stored in there. Okay. So now a variable name should be meaningful and easy to understand. It is an important thing. You cannot just name your variable. It should be named according to the requirement you have. See, in the previous program, I have used number in my do loop. Number is nothing but just to print a variable. Okay. So likewise, the variable should have a context. It should give us a meaning. A meaningful name should be given to the variable based on the use that we are using. So here, salary. As soon as you see that, you will identify that this must be an employee's salary or a person's salary. Salary is nothing but income. You can identify. So it is very meaningful. Height. Height means it can be the height of a person, height of the wall. So height. Name. Name of the person, it can be name of a dog, it can be name of an item, can be. So, one second.
Madam, any questions?
Hold on, students, just a second.
So this is what the first step. See, immediately.
Okay. Okay, let us get that. So a variable should be meaningful. Age I am telling means if it is an age of a person. So that I am the name of the variable should have a meaning. Without a meaning and without easy of understanding, we should not name a variable. Along with that, there are some constraints and there are some rules that you should remember while you are naming a variable. So a variable can only contain alphabets, digits, and underscores. Alphabets, like if I say, if I am writing a variable name, where shall I write it? So if I am writing a variable, employee salary, EMP underscore I should use salary. This is how. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Employee salary. Employee underscore salary I must write. I should not write employee hyphen salary. This hyphen is used and was as one of the operator by the program, by the compiler. So if you write this, it will consider employee is a variable, salary is a variable, and an operation is taking place there. That is why whenever you are naming, the naming convention should be that if there are two spaces there, those two spaces should be separated with the underscore. Or you cannot say EMP space salary. It is an error again. Okay. So if two words are to be joined, better use the underscore symbol and eliminate the space. Okay, so it should contain alphabets. Or I say employee one's salary, I will say EMP 1. See, space is removed. EMP 1. So you can use alphabets, digits, and underscores. You have to use whenever you are naming a variable. Next, a variable name should not begin with a digit or numeric value. This variable name, I should not say this one which you have written here, it should not be written here. It should not write, should not be written. This is not a proper way of naming a variable. If you are using an alpha, an, a number, that number should be written. Either if you want, you can write even here, even empty. But this number should not be written as a first variable, first letter for the variable name. Should not begin with a digit or numeric value. It is an error. Next, a variable name cannot contain blank spaces. This is what I said. Employee salary. You should not leave that blank space there. If you write that blank space, it will consider it as two values and it will say it is an error. So blank spaces will not be considered by the compiler. So I need to fill that blank space with something else, with the underscore. Or if it is not possible, simply write EMP salary without any space. Keywords cannot be used as variables. Keywords. Integer is a keyword. I cannot say integer as my variable name. No way you should use integer because it is a keyword which specifies the type of the data should be a numeric. Okay. So these are the points you should remember whenever you are going to name a variable. So how do you declare a variable? We have already practiced it a lot. We have discussed so many programs until now. So variable declaration can be done. The variable declaration can be done within a class or module or procedure or a block. So we have declared a variable in the module until now. So that declaration will be done using the keyword dim or dim statement. Dim, D caps IM. So these are the examples of creating variables. Dim name as string, dim roll number as integer, dim grade as character. See here, I want to initialize the grade. I want to put some value or give some value to grade. So what am I doing here? After the data type, I'm using the equal to and writing that value that I want to store here. Since it is a character, it should be enclosed between double quotes. So I've written A within the double quotes. That's how we are going to declare or a variable or declaration while using in like the initialization or the assigning a value to the variable while declaring is discussed in the last step. Okay. So there are few prefixes we say, variable prefixes. So variables names can be prefixed with the string to indicate their data type. So these are the prefixes. I want you to complete these things. So Boolean is a data type. The prefix that we can use is BLN. So example is BLN found. Found is nothing but found is a variable name. So before that I am writing BLN. The use of this is optional. If you want, you can use, which means that uh, if you want your variable to, you want to know whether which type of variable is it, you can simply use those prefixes. For Boolean, BLN. For byte, BYT. For character, CHR. Character, char value, CHR. Next, for date, DAT. For decimal, DEC. See here, miles from Earth. So DEC is, see, there is no gap between these words and this key prefix and the key variable that we are using. Found is a variable. It is just prefixed with the bin without any space. So likewise, every variable can be given a prefix. So when I am going to use this particular variable in my program, I can simply prefix it with the keyword. If integer is keyword, integer is the data type, then the prefix int is used. So in number, in this program, which where we have used it number, I can simply say int. This is a prefix. Okay, that we have to do. So next concept is constants. What is a constant? A constant is nothing but a fixed value, I can say. Okay, whose value will not change throughout the program execution. So constants are nothing but the value names that are given to the values, which will not change during the execution of program. And the keyword CONST, const, C caps ONST, const. This is the keyword that we used for the constants. Okay, so here pi value, const pi, which specifies that it is not a variable, it is a constant. So in your program, whenever you want to use constants, you can use this particular keyword along with that. Const pi is equal to 3.14159, and this is a fixed value and it will be fixed throughout your program. Okay. The next concept is arrays. What is an array? So let us discuss array. In simple words, we can say an array is a homogeneous collection of data or a group of values, a group of items which are of same data or which are of same type, we will say. Or an array is a set of values. An array is a set of values that are logically related to each other. That are logically related to each other. So, which means if I am specifying a particular value or a set of values, those set of values will be of that particular will be bearing the same name, will be bearing the same type of data. That is a relation. There here it is specified logically related to each other. For example, you can say marks. So the marks obtained by students. So what does an array do? It will enable you, the array enable you to store a set of elements of the same type. Same type, you can say same data type. So if you do not use an array, what happens? You may say, if the array is not used, what you have to do? Multiple times you have to declare a specific type of variable with the same data type, which is time consuming. So storing the array, storing a set of elements of same data type and of with the same name is much more easier than creating multiple variables of for our use. Okay. So generally the syntax for array. What do you think the syntax for array will be? So as you know, array will be having the data, the name of the variable followed with some brackets which specifies the size of the value, the size of the array or the values that to be stored in an array will be stored there, isn't it? So an array allows you to refer to these related values by the same name and same number. And we will call that number as the index. So in Visual Basic, whenever you want to declare an array, you have to follow the following method. Syntax, array name, and here upper bound has to be given. Then as, then data type. This is the syntax you have to follow to give or to declare an array. Syntax for array declaration. Purposely I'm typing this array is an important concept. So rather than preparing PPT and explaining it there, it is better to some of you said it is good even when I type and explain things to you. Okay, so this is the variable. This is the way of declaring a variable. Declaring an array. So in this particular array, the upper bound. This upper bound is nothing but what is the highest index you want to specify to the array. If I want to store 10 values, I will say 10. 10 is given. So the highest value that is given in the array. Okay. The size of the array, you can simply say. One second. చెప్పమ్మా. ఓకే 11 టన్ను కదా. సరే సరే ఓకే క్లోజ్ చేస్తాను. So this upper bound will be given here, and here let us know what is the example. How do you declare an array? So let us say dim age is the array I'm going to give. So rather than using the brackets that we regularly use for arrays, we are going to use normal parenthesis here. Okay? Dim age 9, which specifies that as integer. It specifies that age is an integer type variable and the size of the array is 9. So since any array, the index value starts from 0, you know that. So 0 to, so the above array stores the value 0 to 9, which means 10 elements it will store. Okay. So this is for today. Tomorrow in the next class, we will discuss about the example. Since if we are running short of time, you have another class waiting for you. One second, let me take the attendance. If you have any doubts, you can ask meanwhile. You don't have any doubt? మాట్లాడండి అమ్మా. Is it taking?
No, ma'am. వేరే క్లాస్ లింక్ పెట్టారు మ్యామ్.
అదే మీ సిఆర్ చెప్తుంది ఫోన్ చేసి. One second, let me take it. What is the strength? Okay, 43. They are here.
46 మ్యామ్.
ఓకే మా మీకు డౌట్స్ ఏం లేకపోతే 46 రాలేదు కదా ఈరోజు.
46 లో 40 ప్రెసెంట్ మ్యామ్ ఈరోజు.
40 present. Okay, I did not stop.